there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we are going to be shopping my stash for February. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you're into eyeshadow palettes, Estee and Catrice, and getting the use out of your makeup the way that I am, then definitely stay tuned because today I'm going to be shopping my stash again to select some new products to try out in February, but to also, go back to old favorites, because if you've been watching my channel, you know that that's what I like to do. I don't like to try things just once. If I love something, I love going back to it, and that's why I do this series to rotate through all of the makeup I have in my collection as much as I can, and to really sort of also be able to try things out if I am trying things out for the first time. So that's what this is about. I'm first going to be updating you on what's actually in the drawer and how I've used things, and then we're actually going to go into my makeup drawers. We're going to be selecting some new products, and at the end of the video, I will also be showing you what eyeshadow palettes I will be reviewing and going back to by the end of this month. So this is always the messy part because that's where my face products go, and after a month of using foundations and highlighters and blushes and whatever is in here, it tends to look like this. I know not everybody always appreciates the mess, but I'm just keeping it real here. And I'm very happy to report that I was able to use up, or almost use up, 4 products, which I'm very chuffed with. So let's start with what I used up in terms of face. And that's this, the Clean ID Hyper Hydro Serum Primer from Catrice. Now, I thought I was going to run out of this very quickly. Boy, was I wrong. I only used it up today when I was getting ready to do my makeup. So the other 2 primers that I selected for this month haven't even gotten any use yet, but this was nice enough, but not something I need to go out and repurchase, but it was an okay primer from Catrice to try. So you can be safe to say that these 2 primers from Estee and Catrice are going to be staying in this drawer because I haven't gotten around to trying these yet, and I need to get the reviews out because Estee and Catrice are already changing up their lines for the spring-summer season. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so these are from their previous update, and I haven't even gotten around to using those yet. I just had the one concealer in here. This is the Rare Beauty Concealer in 160C. You can see a little bit of a gap there because I did use it every single day because this was the only concealer I was using, and I find it okay. It's not my favorite, but I also don't dislike it. It's just a good enough concealer. I definitely got the job done. The reason why I'm not wowed by this is because this is supposed to be hydrating, but if I use too much of this, it looks like a cakey mess. So a little goes a long way. I only dotted this around and then it looks really pretty. But it was also a little bit thick, so I found it difficult to blend out as well. I just prefer something that's got a bit more hydration than this does, but this is a good middle of the road concealer, but I wasn't super impressed with it, so I will be selecting something new. Powder, the Kiko. This is their Radiant Fusion powder in shade 1. Now, if you're wondering, Micah, what happened to that pan? Well, it got hard pan. It had this really dark film all of a sudden, and I wasn't able to pick anything up anymore. So I scraped it off, and now it seems to work just fine again. I use up powders before I go and move on to the next one, so that's gonna stay. For blush, I had 3 options in, which were these 3. And I definitely use these powder ones the most, and that has to do with how difficult it was for me to apply this. I struggle getting this to look nice on me. The Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Melting Color Balm. So I had already tried this, I reviewed it, I like it a lot, I love the shade, but there's just something about this formula that it doesn't really work with my usual techniques of how I like to apply creams, because this isn't very emollient. It's a very dry texture, and I find it therefore very difficult to blend and look natural on my cheeks. So that's why this is probably not my favorite cream blush formula, but because it is a really cool tone mauve pink, it's got a, like here in real life, it looks very purple. So I love it for that. And that's probably why this still has merit in my makeup collection, but I'm not wowed by the formula that I've gone back to it again. But the 2 powder blushes I really, really loved. So the Kaleidos one in Dream Walk, I now know the name of this. This is Dior Rosy Glow, but then cheaper, and it's a really, really pretty pink. It looks very intense in the pan, but it's not as scary as it looks. I found this really natural on. I use this most days. If I wanted a bit more, I went in with the MAC Extra Dimension blush in the shade Rosy Cheeks. This is, again, another shade that looks very intimidating in the pan, but when you apply it with a brush, it just looks so pretty. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today, and I have to film a video where I face the camera as well, so you will be seeing this live in action later this week, because I will be filming my new makeup releases after I sit down to film this video. We have highlighters, and here again I selected 3, and I ended up using this KVD Beauty eyeshadow a lot. This is in the shade Thunderstruck, but it's just, I have found, now that I've swatched all of my highlighters out again, that I have this shade a million times over. So this is quite old, so this probably has to go, but in terms of what it does for my cheeks, I really liked it. And surprise of the month was this. This is by the same. This is their Prism highlighter and this shade Rose Beam Light or something like that. And it looks like it's a pink to gold, but it doesn't translate pink to gold onto my cheeks. I'm not sure what is in this, but it's so, so pretty. And I feel it's a bit more unique in my collection as well. So I wore this the most after the KVD. And then I've only used Diamond Dasher a handful of times. I felt the other 2 were a bit less highlightery, and that may sound contradicting for a highlighter, but I don't find very blinding highlights very flattering on me in the winter time, because my skin tends to be drier and I've got a bit more texture then, and so I don't love these very blinding things. And this actually has some like glitter particles as well. It was really fun for like more special occasions, but I didn't reach for it beyond that. And for bronzer, M Cosmetics So Soft Bronzer and the Catrice Holiday Skin. The M Cosmetics, someone left a comment like, yeah, but she's completely derailed, so why would you promote the brand? I bought this way before there was anything wrong with her, and if I have a product lying about in my collection and I haven't tried it much yet, and I have yet to review it, then that's what I'm gonna do. So just because someone seems to have lost their marbles is not a reason for me to stop using certain makeup products I already own, I feel. This is in the shade Terra, and this was nice, but I prefer my Rare Beauty one. So I'm pretty sure once I declutter, this is also really messy, I'll probably get rid of this, because I did repurchase my Milk makeup in Baked, their bronzing stick, because that's one of my favorites and mine has expired. And this I feel isn't special enough. I prefer the Rare Beauty one. This I used the most this month. The Holiday Skin in Summer in the City. This is so good. This is really, really pretty. It's such a good wintertime bronzer for me, and that's why I had selected it. And I may just have to keep it in, but I'm going to be selecting another bronzer for sure. Ooh. Finally, foundations. I set myself the task to make sure I try out all of the different drugstore foundations I haven't tried yet for my drugstore foundation review before I sit down to film that. And this was one of the ones I still had to try. This was a recommendation from a lot of you guys, and I really love the foundation. This is so pretty on. It's got a lovely, lovely finish. I really love the way it wears. It's a good foundation. But this is the lightest shade I can get my hands on. It's the shade Fair, and it's too dark. By about 2 or 3 shades, definitely. But it does tend to oxidize on me as well, and then it looks even darker, and it's far too yellow. So even though I love this, this is probably not going to stay around in my collection for a long time. The Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. This is one I put in saying once I've used that Wet n Wild one, I'm going to go between the Estee Lauder and the Tarte to try and use this up, because this is one that has been on my use up pile for a while, but I think the formula has changed because I wore it once or twice this month and it looks differently from what I remember it looking like. It still smells okay. The texture doesn't seem to have changed. This hasn't separated. So it seems fine, but maybe my skin is just a bit too dry for it right now. And I just had so many dry patches and it aged me by a mile. So that's why I'm going to be putting this back into the makeup collection, and it's probably just going to be decluttered by now. What I use most this month is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydrarescue. And this is great, but it seems to be separating in the tube. But I've been using it just fine all month. And it started to happen, like you can see it a bit here. It started to happen as I was using it. So maybe it's just from pumping like the pumping action when you use it, but I've used this quite a bit, and this is one that I would like to use up maybe next. So I think I may keep this in just for, you know, if the foundations I'm trying out this month aren't great, I could keep it in. But Catrice has a new foundation, you guys, and I'm loving it. I have already been testing this out. As you're watching this, you're going to see the review of this going up on the blog tomorrow, because I have already been able to try it for more than a week, because the other things I had already been using, or I had already tested it out at the start of the month. So when I got this in, I was able to try it out straight away, and I am really happy with this. This gives me the same effect as the Futurist Hydrarescue, but this is like, what, €8 at the drugstore. The shade is really good for me, and you only need 2 drops. Like, that was my issue when I tried it out in the video for you guys. I was using way too much. I had to take most of it off the back of my hand, and I have found 2 drops of this, and that's all you need. And it's a really lovely, glowy. So many people have been giving me compliments on what my makeup looks like in the past week since I've been wearing it, saying how pretty my makeup looks, and I'm pretty sure it's this. So yeah, maybe I can keep the Estee Lauder in for using up. This to just because I love it. And then I'm going to try out 2 new foundations. I usually try out a foundation for a week. And you know, if after 3 days I feel it's just not working for me, I'm not going to soldier on with it if it's too dark or, you know, just a bit flaky looking. I'd rather go back to something I love, so I want to keep those things in. I told you I used up products. Mascara is another thing I used up. It was very dry from the start, so it didn't take long for it to no longer work on my lashes. So I rolled in the Heroin Make Long Up Mascara, super waterproof. This is a K-Beauty mascara, and I've never tried a K-Beauty mascara before. So far, so good. And I'm really liking the wand on this. It's this curve, which I'm usually not a fan of. But this is nice. It's a nice formula as well. I've been loving it. And then we just have my brow products and my Catrice Slim-Matic brow pencil. All of a sudden, it was just gone. I had not expected to use it up that quickly. So I've now rolled in one from the Face Shop. I'm not sure which shade this is. I need to look it up. The writing is very small. And this is one of those triangular shaped ones. I generally like these. The shade for me is okay, but I find it a bit dark. And then just the Catrice Volume and Lift Brow Mascara. I love this. This is going to stay in as well. MAC Paint Pot still going strong. The Milani Eyeshadow Primer is getting harder to use every single day because of how little is left. This lip balm is getting really difficult to squeeze out as well, so that's almost gone. And look at that. This I might as well count as gone because this is one use that it's got left. So this is the Milk Hydro Grip setting spray. Lovely enough, but doesn't warrant a repurchase or anything like that. And I've got other setting sprays that I still need to use up or that I want to go back to. So this is what I selected for my custom singles palette this month. I haven't played with this yet because I have a very particular goal with this one. And if you didn't watch my custom singles eyeshadow palette video this month, then you're missing out because I have a hidden giveaway that I'm doing as part of this series. It's going to be a running giveaway, that's a rolling giveaway, I should say, that comes back every month. So make sure you check out that first video from January so that you know what you need to do in order to enter the next round. And then we just have the Naked 2 and 3 reorganization, which I told you was going to live in here for the rest of the year, and I'm going to do looks with it. Now, I haven't used this a whole lot yet. However, you're going to see me using shades from this in my current short series. So I'm starting a new short series as part of February. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is show you how I like to do different eye looks. And I was like, why not use some of my favorite shades? So I did use this and also that shade. So that's Mugshot and this is Tease from the Naked 2 and the Naked 3 to do a very basic eye look so far. And I use a bit of Blackheart as for the liner tutorials that I'm doing. So my aim is to show you all of the different ways that I like to create eye looks within a month in short 1-minute clips. That's the aim. I know, I'm ambitious, but yeah, I'm going to be showing you halo eyes, cut creases, cat eyes, smoky eyes, my navy smoky look, like certain colors, like colors that I feel work really well for me. So we're going to go over everything in short little videos all month. So I hope you like to stay tuned for that. So that's everything that was in this drawer. let me take you into the makeup drawers and select some new product. Welcome to the mess that is my makeup drawer, and yes, I'm due a declutter. I will be filming them at the end of this month, and they're gonna go live in March. But before we do that, in February, I'm gonna be swatching out this and pretty much all of this top drawer for you. I hope you're excited for it. I'm gonna do like a makeup collection inventory kind of series where I'm gonna be swatching out most of my color products that aren't eyeshadow. So let me select some new products. Foundation. These two I haven't tried yet for a review. So the Eveline Cosmetics Tea Tree foundation and the Lumine Natural Glow foundation. These are two I still need to try out for my drugstore foundation review. For concealer, I'm definitely now going to be trying out the Ordinary's just concealer. I remember Kelly Gooch not loving this, even though she also loved the Ordinary Serum foundation like I do. But I hope I like this better. I don't know. I will be, like, if this isn't working for me, I will definitely be going into the drawer and select something new. So this is my little setting spray section, and I have two minis of the Urban Decay All Nighter, which is not my favorite, but this is the Charlotte Tilbury one that's new to me that I could potentially try out. Then I have a backup of my favorite green tea one, and then two of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, which is now my current favorite one. So I just need to use a couple of things up, so I'll just try and use this up ASAP. And then we need to select bronzer, blush, and highlight. Now for blush, I already know I need to try this out. So this is new from Catrice as well. This is their Cheek Lover Marbled Blush in Dahlia Blossom. This is from their new collection, and it's very similar to the shades I had in my January Shop My Stash. For a more neutral tone blush, I'm going to be using my Victoria Beckham Cream Blush in Mini Skirt. Let's go back to this, the Duo Glow from Natasha Denona in Rio. For bronzer, I want to go back to my other winter bronzer staple. This is the Kiko Flawless Fusion Bronzer in shade 01. This is another really great light tone bronzer for the winter time. So we're going to put that in. Yeah, we're just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna put in the contour one from Charlotte Tilbury just to try it out, because that's a product I'm a bit apprehensive about. Let's try this out a bit more. This is also new from Catrice. This is their All Over Glow Tint. Yeah, so this Melt Cosmetics highlighter in Morning Star is very similar to the KVD one I had in January. So I want to use this to see how similar it actually is and feels for me. But this is probably going to stay over the KVD. Hourglass. This is the Iridescent Strobe Light Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder. I love this in the winter time. So I think we've selected everything we need from here. Let me put the drawer back together and show you what I use in terms of lips and my eyeshadow palettes. So that's what that looks like, but I completely forgot to tell you what I have been using in terms of lipsticks. And there's quite a bit here. So gloss-wise, I wasn't really on point this month. Let me put these away. This is the Catrice Better Than Fake Lips Volume Gloss, which I'm not sure. Am I using this up? Because the last time I used this, there was very little product in it left that was on the doe foot. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. And I use this quite a bit because it's winter and I just want my lips to be nourished. And rather than taking my lipstick to work, I put this in my work bag to just refresh my lips a bit throughout the day. So this is the Dior Lip Glow Oil in Rosy Pink. And of course, Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. And I wore a lot of different shades because I was doing different looks and I was like, I want to wear these shades. So bear with me as we go through this really quickly. Rose Official, Velvet Petal, Velvet Cinnabar, Velvet Beauty, New Wave, Velvet Blush Lightly, Painterly. And then I wore some of my Gucci lipsticks this month as well. So someone actually commented on my 2022 favorites, like, where are your Gucci lipsticks? But I haven't really gotten around to, you know, trying all of these formulas by Gucci all that often yet. So this is definitely things I still really feel I need to get a good enough feel for to really be able to dub them favorites. So yeah, I wore, what's this again? This is Peggy Taupe from the Matte line. Yeah, this is Mildred Rosewood from the Satin line. And I just wore a bit of the Painted Veil from the Voile line. So all that's left is eyeshadow. And for my eyeshadow palettes that I want to go back to series, so Gem or Junk, eyeshadow palettes revisited, I thought that since it's February, the month of love, I could go back into like rosy mauve tones, like just straight across the board. So we're gonna do Marvelous Mauves by Dose of Colors. This is actually one that's on the chopping block for me. I need to determine if I want to keep this around. And this is what instigated the entire idea of also using my reorganized Making Mauves by ColourPop. This is what the color story looks like for me. I put different shades in there, in case you were wondering. Melt Cheese and Parties, which is one of my favorite rosy toned eyeshadow palettes, is going to be in here. Then the Sigma New Mod, which I actually ranked higher than my retro when I did my 2022 rankings. I was like, I need to put that to the test a little bit more and see how these compare. And so if I, try them out side by side, I can really tell what the differences are between these two for me. But I need to decide in terms of like rosy tone palettes whether I want all of them or not. And then of course the retro from Natasha Denona. I already used the Rose Quartz from Huda Beauty last month, so maybe I'm going to rope that in because together with the Natasha Denona retro, but I haven't decided yet. 5 is usually enough for me to sort of do also maybe multiple looks with some of these. That's always my aim anyways. So putting in the Rose Quartz may be a bit too much for me to manage, especially because February is also a shorter month. And I also have some pretty big guys that are going to require quite a few looks in the eyeshadow palettes I want to use for the first time this month. So this is not a first time use. I did already use the 5 in a box from Catrice when I tried out their new spring summer collection. This is part of that, but I want to do at least 1, maybe 2 more looks with this just to see how versatile it is before I review it. So that will be included in this month's eyeshadow palette review. The ColourPop Troublemaker, which didn't swatch for me the best when I tried it, but I think this is a great color story for like grungy winter vibes as well. Like it's more of a fall release, of course, but I think it can do like romantic things, but also the grungy things. Then I'm not going to take this one out of the box because it's going to take too much time, but this is the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction Mothership 10, right? 10? Yes, that's what it's called. Then this guy, Natasha Denona Retro Glam, which is at least going to take me like 3 looks as well to do. And then I have my Adept Minka palette in here. And someone was asking, oh, but what about the taupes in the Minka when I talked about my top 10 taupes? This doesn't have any taupe shadows. It's got a silver. This could be a taupe, but I feel it's a bit too brassy for my liking to call it a taupe. This one is too rosy, and these are both multi-chromes. I'm not sure you can see in the pan there. It looks greeny pink here. It looks pink here, but then you can see right there in the mirror that it looks green. And same for this, it looks like a vibrant pink, but it actually has that green tone to it. And then, again, one I'm not going to take out of the box, but this was something I wanted to give away, and I haven't tried it yet. This is the Nomad Cosmetics Monteverde Cloud Forest. It's a very vibrant rainbow palette, like all the colors you see in the front are in this. So February may not be the moment to try this, but hear me out. February means it's almost spring. So I feel like we can do a bright, vibrant eye look for sure. So I've got 6 palettes to try and also some like bigger things like this guy and the Retro Glam where I know I need to do 3 or 4 looks to be able to use every single shade. So this for me is a eye look every single day I go to work because that's how I tend to do it. I just do my makeup before I head out the door and snap pictures. That's how I do these things. So yeah, that's why maybe roping in the Rose Quartz may be a bit too much, but if I manage, I will put it in the eyeshadow palette revisited video as well, just to complete it in terms of like all the rosy tones I have. But yeah, that's it, what I wanted to share with you today. This is my Shop My Stash for February. I really hope you enjoyed watching it today. Thank you so very much for being here, and then I hope to see you in my next video. As I already mentioned, there's a lot of follow-ups leading from this video, such as 2 eyeshadow palette review videos, custom singles, some shorts that I'm filming, drugstore and Catrice reviews that are happening. When I get my hands on the new Essence products, I will of course also do a video with that update, but those products haven't been released yet. I haven't been able to find them online. I check multiple times a day to see if I can buy them, and I haven't been able to yet. So the minute I can do that, I hope it's going to be this week, but I can't tell, so I'm dependent on when the stores drop the actual stock. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for all of the follow-up content that I'm going to be doing based on this Shop My Stash video. I always like doing these videos because it gives you an overview of what you might expect this month. Because any of the products I haven't reviewed yet either, those are going to go up on the blog. So blog content, shorts content, YouTube content is all represented in one giant video. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for all of that goodness, and I hope you'd like to come back for more, and then I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye!